this whole time and it just didn't tell me, like, because that's what seems to happen. But
It just
it's okay.
it just said it that it's now streaming live. So
Oh, perfect. Great. So, welcome to the Hash with Stacie Shea. It's Friday, September 4th, 2020. Today I have with me Jennine Doc Krueger. She is wonderful. Um, Welcome to the show.
hey,
A little later on, we'll have Smackola and T Double on to talk about some music business. But in the meantime, Doc, I'm going to call you Doc if that's okay,
yeah,
because that's how us poets know her.
and
Uh,
everybody knows me as that at
that's
work, at my students, everybody.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like you are a poet and a professor,
Yeah,
an award-winning, national award-winning poet and professor at an HBCU here in town.
yeah.
So I'm very, very pleased and honored to have you here. So tell us a bit more.
I am a mom, a grandma. Oh my God.
Yeah, Grandma.
I'm a whole grandma now
Like
to several things.
what?
So yeah, and that's kind of weird. I was saying the other day to someone, I was like, I'm a whole grandma now. I feel like I should be shopping at Bell's or Steinmart. Like I need some coordinating outfits with the pants and the top to match or something.
Time is
Uh,
going out of business. So if you're going to go, you better get it in now. Look,
man,
40,
get that
40%
deal.
off.
I do teach at Houston Tillotson University, and I'm in the English department. I'm assistant professor. I teach first and second year writing classes, like composition, rhetoric. I also teach literature courses, African American lit, children's lit, and I teach creative writing. So I've taught poetry and performance. I've taught intro to creative writing, covering multiple genres, and now I am teaching playwriting and throwing in a little bit of screenwriting in there too. So it's a lot of fun.
What? I need to take your class. They don't offer it like that though. I can't just come in and just like take your class like they do at like ACC, where you
Oh
can just
yeah,
go take a class.
actually that
Like,
wouldn't be
but
a bad idea. I'm gonna have to pitch that.
look, really, please, because there's some folks that like I don't want to go to the whole college thing. I want to take your class to learn how to write screenplays and learn how to write. Like, I don't want to take math, any of them,
Oh,
like any of them. Pick one.
and
I don't
see,
want it.
and I'm not the greatest. I mean, I'm still submitting my work just like every other artist and getting my nose. But the more and more you get them, the more you learn from it. But it's really good just to be around other creatives, because then you can sort of feed off of it and let things ideas grow.
Right, right. And that's, I was talking about that one week. It's like the writers groups, man. Like it's like if you are a writer, if you are a creative, get in a group of folks that do what you do,
Right.
or something that is complementary to what you do. Like I wish, like we need a painter to come start hanging out with the poets and just paint while we're poeting.
I have a sister that's a painter, so
Bring her. Tell her to just stand in the corner and paint while we're thinking and writing. You know, like, like we need it. It'd be wonderful. It's great. So what has it been? Okay, so professor, you're teaching these classes.
uh-huh.
Are you doing it via Zoom or are you doing it live on campus?
Right now it's all Zoom. This is my office, my workstation right here at home. It's probably the most professional spot in the house. um, but yeah, I'm really glad that HT made the decision to think about the safety of not only the faculty but also, I mean, not only the students but also the faculty, because a lot of people are just, hey, students first, and I'm like, hey, what
Like,
about
what
us?
about the teachers? What about the faculty, the professors? The
Right. And
so
in
what
the
would you have?
past,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but what would you have done? Hi, T Double. What would you have done if they had said we need you to come in? How would you have responded
honestly,
to that?
I think I would have requested to teach from home anyway. Um, Early on, like as soon as COVID hit and we started hearing about, well, I mean, it had hit for a while, but as soon as we had our spring break extended, and they were like making the decision and everything, at that point, we were already starting to get certified teaching online and everything because we knew it was a possibility. So by the time the semester ended and summer hit, I teach summer as well. So I was already ready. So at that point, if they would have said, okay, y'all come back, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm certified.
Like, no, I'm good.
Let me stay here because I'm not even comfortable with my kids going back to school. So they're here. I even have some of my kids they work, my goodness, they are students at HT where I teach. So we're all here at school at the same time.
Right. Now, certification. There's an additional certification to be an online teacher. Additional courses
there may be several certifications or whatever out there, but we have one called QM, Quality Matters, that kind of addresses how not only students learn, but learning virtually and what all needs to be included and clear expectations so that students can navigate the system. Because, online learning isn't for everyone, but we're trying to make it to where everybody can be successful because we know that they're in this position.
Right. Yeah, I've done both at several different levels in my education. I've done, online and in person. And what I like about the online thing in certain settings is it's in some parts of it is a lot of work at your own pace. Like you really get to do a lot of it yourself.
Yeah.
But for the classroom thing, it's like I really enjoy the engaging in the conversation with the group and with the class and everything. So it's an adjustment. Now, are y'all going to be going back to classroom at any point in time? Like, do you have a date set for that? Or
we have no date set. I think they're, going to play it by ear and follow the science and see what the numbers are looking like and just go from there. Probably closer to the end of the semester, they'll be letting us know. And then,
I like science.
Yeah,
I like science a lot. Science is good. So what made you decide that you wanted to be a professor and teach, teach at this level and teach creative writing at this level?
Ooh, well, I'm going to say that I taught high school first. So I knew what students were going through in high school and the standardized testing and everything. And there's limitations as far as teaching goes because you kind of have to follow the script and you have to follow the curriculum and you teach what's expected to be learned. And, rather than pull in more relevant things that are happening. And I'm all about social justice. So I wanted to teach in the community that I came from.
Right.
So I'm a graduate from HT. So I was like, let me just go on home.
Right. That's wonderful. And so the creative writing, so you did it as an outlet both for you and for the kids as well, for the students as well. It's kind of what I'm like you're saying, like you were confined to the script, right?
Right.
And so you find that not to be the case now?
I was teaching English for high school for like 7 years. And so of course you teach your literature and you teach your composition. But outside of that, there wasn't really a creative component in there. So I feel like I have more options now. My major scholarship area is comic books, and I'm always doing scholarship on heroes of color and yeah, I'm nerdy. I'm hella nerdy.
No, that's cool. That's beautiful. I used to grow up going to the comic book store every Tuesday with my daddy to get the new editions of everything when it came out in the 80s, So
and I can create programming around stuff like that. Like I'm still torn up about Black Panther.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yes. I was really torn up about Black Panther. At HT, we had put on an event for the community where we were talking about how we build a Wakanda within our community. And we were looking at cinematic choices and all of these beautiful things that were relevant, not only on screen, but also in the comic books and how it carried over. And then the second part of the programming was bringing in some of our area leaders where we were discussing how do we make this real? it was like it was a really good turnout, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to be doing, and I can do more of that on the college level.
Yay! So we can look for your comic book soon. Um,
Well, I wouldn't
what?
say that. I started writing an opera, of all things. I started writing an opera, and it is about disabilities as superpowers. And it's been submitted somewhere, and
What?
it's in the semifinals. So we'll see what happens. But even if it doesn't go where it needs to go there, then I'm still going to keep pushing for that. So
You still, and are you still gonna put it up, even if like you're still gonna put it up on a stage, right?
I sure hope so.
Okay. No, there's the what? Yes.
It's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, but you've got everybody, people that move all those parts. So what do you?
I wrote a
talking
musical
about?
and did not know a composer. And then I met a composer, and then I started working on an opera. So it's like, I just need
Okay.
to get everything lined up.
And well, that's what's been happening, right? That was actually my next question. Is like you got a composer, like your opera, you wrote the music for it, as the songs,
Oh
the
no,
lyrics.
I had nothing to do with the music. Mine is completely storyline and lyrics.
Awesome, though. And you just gave the composer your lyrics, and then they were like, "Yeah, here's the song that goes with that."
Yeah, we're
Sorry,
gonna
excuse
build
my
it.
dog barking. That's amazing. I love that. I grew up watching musicals a lot. I was thinking about that I was driving. Sorry.
Okay.
Shush.
I have dogs here too.
Like, yeah, but I bet yours have some sense a little bit. Like
They're just
mine
in a
don't. No.
farther room.
Yeah,
They
mine,
don't.
mine, like, oh, not a lick of sense. If I put it in a farther room, it'll bark even more. Anyway, so the musicals that I grew up watching, I grew up watching a ton of musicals, and even the style of singing, like I think that's what made Hamilton so striking as a musical.
Which is what
Was
made me write my musical. I was
it,
like, I was blown away.
it's inspiring, right? You're like, oh, so we can write a serious piece of musical theater that includes our music. Um,
Right.
but I was like singing the song. I had this song stuck in my head, and I was singing it in the voice in my head that the person sings it in the movie. It was I Could Have Danced All Night, Audrey Hepburn. This was a couple days ago, and I was thinking about it from the perspective of the fact that like this is the whitest song in the whole world, like, but you know what I mean, like as far as it being
I
like
do.
culturally relatable. um the even the content of it wasn't even really all that culturally relatable, but it was what we had, and it's still, musicals are wonderful and I love them, and I'm not gonna, I love them. Okay, so fine, I grew up watching a bunch of white people dance around and sing about white people stuff. I loved it. Okay. um, but I totally understand and am excited for the fact that there's people that are writing this now, musicals that are telling stories in a way that is our narrative,
Yeah.
not folks talking about us or
Right.
acting like or writing what they think we'd be like. Um,
Right.
so I love it. I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait to hear it and see it and look, put it up on a stage, like you like,
That
put it
is the
up on a
plan.
stage. You've got 1,000 friends that are qualified to put it on a stage, so you better start making phone calls, um, because we shouldn't stop either way. Like
No.
we really
I
need to.
always have so many projects going on at the same time. So if I just sit down and focus on one at a time, maybe I can get a little bit further, but it's just so many things.
I have that same problem, you know. Um, but there's a lot to be done,
Yeah.
There's a lot to be done, and it's really, but like you said, things are kind of coming together and falling into place, and setting people in your path to enable you to do what it is that you need to do. So,
Right.
congratulations in advance just for completing that whole project, because you know how many writers, all of us writers, right? And how many writers are talking about they're writing something, they're writing a play, they're writing a book.
Well,
I
actually, I
mean,
know
what
quite
this
a
is
bit.
like all of us, every single
Yeah.
last one of us is
I'm
talking
like,
about
I
how
know a lot.
we're writing a screenplay, we're writing a play, we're writing a book, we're writing a movie,
Yeah.
you know, um, and you finished it. So congratulations. That's
Mhm.
that's amazing. Oh, it looks like
Here's the other thing, but like to really put some work together, we collaborate with other artists.
Right.
And to find the artists that are just as excited about your project as you are, like that's the magic you waiting to happen.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
That's really good. Actually, that's actually a great segue to kind of bring in these gentlemen to talk about it, to talk about the the business element if they're around. Like, are y'all there?
Yeah, let's hear them.
It's like T Double and Smackola, are you with us? Are you here? It's like, y'all come on. I'm gonna ask y'all to unmute if y'all are around.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
there you are. Wonderful. Great. Good to hear you. That's T Double, y'all. So we're talking about the team now at this point. Doc was just talking about how important you've been sitting here, how important it is to have people that are as excited about your project as you are when you're working with folks to get your stuff going. Can you speak to that at all? Hey, Smackola.
Y'all hear me?
There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. So yeah.
What'd you say? I didn't hear your question.
Oh, okay. I would say yes,
Yep.
we can. Welcome,
Okay,
welcome.
finally.
So the question that's on the table right
T-Dub,
now.
Doc, what up?
Hey, what's
Oh yeah,
up?
let me let y'all get that out of the way because y'all all know each other. Say hello.
Hey.
And let's pause for a minute. T Double, why don't you introduce yourself? And then Smackola, you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get to the question that I just asked, and y'all can all speak on that a bit. Cool?
Yeah. All right. My name is Tyranny Johnson. Most people know me as T Double. Artist, music producer, multi-award winner, artist advocate. I do a lot of things and been doing a lot of things in Austin since the 80s. You know what I mean? I've been making music, releasing records since I was 9 years old in Austin. And I've just been putting in a lot of work, and I love the city, and I love Black creatives, and I love helping Black artists become sustainable and creative and, you know, moving forward. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a big fan of Smackola.
Me too.
All right. So you see how he passed that mic like that though? That's professional MCing right there. You see how he did that? All right. Smackola, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm just, can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I am Smackola. I'm a SoundCloud rapper.
What?
I have 3 demos out, and I'm hoping to start my rap career.
Wow.
And
wow. This is
yeah,
not a fake news
and that's
show.
why I'm here. I'm here to
not
talk about what y'all should do and take game from me. You know, because I have 3 demos out, and yeah.
Let me tell you about Smack real
Look,
quick.
thank you.
Let me tell you about him.
Look, because if you didn't, I was gonna.
He has hands everywhere in all sorts of things, like his reach, and not only that, but it's not just music. Because like I've been catching little clips of the Black Tea Talk, or what is it called?
Black
Tea Talk. Yeah.
Okay, see, I got it right. and like he's talking about community and social justice, and I'm like, that's what's up. And not only that, but he produced my first CD. You know, so
yes,
when I was talking about finding somebody that's when you find other artists that work with you and are just as excited about your project, like that's when the magic happens for real. So I'm grateful.
Yeah. So he's part of the Dirty Worms, and they've done some stuff.
Lots of stuff.
You might recognize them from their stuff. Stop it, y'all. But no, listen, no. T Double and Smackola both are very accomplished and published musicians and know quite a bit about how to navigate the business. And so that's why I asked them to come on, and they're going to be coming on the first Friday of every month to tell us a little something about it. So I think that since we started here with the team, how do y'all feel about talking about that today, the importance of the team, and then we can go from there. So that was the question that was on the table. She just said it again, you know, like, why is it important to have people that are just as excited about your project as you are, and not, or is it, do you just need somebody who has the skill set, or do they need to be as excited about it as you are? And I'll let
I think you definitely need a team around you. But most importantly, like with what I do, like I talked to Quincy Jones one time, right? And he told me that you need at least 5 people around you who are as knowledgeable of what they do uh, besides of what you do. Like they don't do the same thing you do, but they're very knowledgeable in their field. Like have somebody around you who knows finances, have somebody around you in the marketing area, have somebody around you in advertising, but they're not musicians. So they can bring you a whole new perspective to how to market your stuff. Like when I release a record, I'm sure Smack can tell you too, when we release records, it's like we're releasing a new Apple computer. We're releasing a new soft drink. We're releasing a new thing like that. Like I don't look at it as I'm releasing new music. I don't really put it in that category. But those are the type of people I surround myself with. I try to have at least, and plus I have people around me who aren't in it, aren't in my circle for a percentage. You know what I mean? A lot of people will be around you when they see you have the potential to make some kind of revenue for them. They can get 20%, they can get 15%, whatever. I like people around me who aren't in it for that. So I get honest opinions. They're willing to look at contracts for free. They're willing to help me out because they see the drive that I have. Like I'm one of the few people in Austin that's been doing it so long. And it's because I've had people around me who push me in the right direction for the betterment of what I'm doing that can lead to the betterment of Austin hip hop.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. And Smackola, what'd you think? I saw you nodding there.
Yeah, exactly what he said. You got to surround yourself with go-getters. You got to surround yourself with people that have your best interests. Because a lot of these cats out here, can I be all the way raw with it?
Please, it's a hash.
A lot of these
hash
niggas
it out.
ain't
That's what
shit.
we're doing.
A lot of these niggas ain't shit. And you're gonna have to realize that as soon as you get in this game, that you're gonna meet a lot of people that just don't have your best interest. They're here to fly by night. A lot of promises. A lot of "I love you, man. I'm gonna be there for you." And this is, I think a lot of those people, they grew up watching BT. I used to tell a crew that I used to run with all the time. I said, "Man, y'all watch BT all day. So you think what we're about to do is a BT video? Like you're not looking at, hey man, I need somebody that knows, like T said, I need somebody that knows finances, somebody that knows back then when websites were kind of first jumping. Like, hey man, do you know how to work a website? Do you know how to build one? You know the infrastructure one. Do you even know what day that records drop on? Do you know anything about publishing? Do you know? So for me, it was hard to find those people because unfortunately, my friends at the time, they didn't know anything about the business, and so I spent a lot of time, as I'm sure a lot of people have. You spend time arguing with your friends kind of when you know a little more knowledge than they do about it, but they're trying to tell you about it. And you're like, no, it don't work like that. You got to do this. And they always think they coming up with an idea to tell you something that you ain't thought of already when you've thought about it 100 different ways. So that's why it is important to have a team. And if you're fortunate enough to get one, good. But the thing about team is they always get switched out. They get traded out. Some of them are there for you for a short journey. Some are there. You still might have some of your team still sitting around. You know what I mean? But it's very important. And like T said, a lot of times guys will come around you. They want a percentage, and it's like, this is sweat equity business too. This is not just you gonna come in here and, oh, I need 10% because I did this. Like what? Like I think Master P said it before. Like when you think of 10% or like 10% of a deal, let's say, and a dude just overlooked the contract for you or something, right? Just to say, you know what, man, that's a good deal. Go ahead. Now T even knows we had a lot of those people around us, and what they would do is they want 10, 20%. Okay, you get $1 million deal. That's really a bank loan. So now they're getting 10, 20% of your $1 million or your 100 grand, right? But they're gonna take that and leave. It's like, wait a minute, I need that 10 grand to put a magazine ad out or not just to give you because you did this part. Like, look at what all I'm giving to it. But you're looking at your 10% like, well, I need to get paid 10% for this to do it. Now, do you follow me on that? Like,
yeah. But what about like, okay. So you're talking about like if you just like have a lawyer friend, you know, like if you've got a lawyer friend, um, they shouldn't mind just looking over the contract real quick, and they shouldn't get 10% of the whole deal just
Yeah,
for
because
looking over
see,
the paperwork. Is that well? What would be a fair? Should they
kind
do
of
it
is
for
what I'm saying.
free?
Until you get to a point where you kind of know what you're doing, because your first deal, a lot of times, what a lot of people don't get is it's pretty much a bank loan. So if I'm giving you 10 grand or 100 grand, if I got $1 million deal, you're taking 10%. Was that 100 grand? 10 that right? So so you're taking that.
Doc,
My mind is so many places. My mind is so many places. So
Teach
you so
English.
you're taking
Don't do math.
so you're taking that, but not realizing that's not only the money I gotta live off of. That's my recording budget. That's my marketing budget. That's the budget.
so
So
wouldn't a good team person,
I really don't have $1 million.
right?
It's
And a
not
good,
really it's not really coming across your hands. It's
so
a
a good
thing where they're
teammate,
marking it off.
someone.
But now imagine the record label, right? Imagine your house and you go to the bathroom. They're charging you $65,000 to use the bathroom, but this is y'all's bathroom. See what I'm saying? Then you're going to the kitchen to get in the refrigerator. Okay, I'm gonna charge you another 30. Well, but I signed the deal with y'all. This is your bathroom and this is your kitchen. See what I'm saying? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah, I mean,
the record label is kind of getting you there. So now you're already almost going in the hole just based on using, like if I come to your house right now, Stacie Shea, to use your laptop, you charge me for that. But I'm signed to you. So you're gonna charge me for using your laptop. You're gonna
That's
charge me
after
for
you
da 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 da.
invite him.
right.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say this is a
And so
mandatory
now,
meeting to come in and show me how to work this mess.
yeah. So now I'm in debt.
So
And
then,
now
okay,
you got your homeboy lawyer friend, or whatever, he's going through whatever they call it. He's going to be a lawyer. He's not one yet, but now he's going to take 10 grand, but he's going to take his 10 grand and go. Now, whatever you're left with, that's what you got to survive with. It's like, oh, you don't want to grind with me now though. You wanted to get that and run. You know what I mean? So,
I
but
see what you're
a
saying.
team is important, because you need to make sure like, hey, this money we're getting here right now, the deal might not go through all the way. We need to take this money and capitalize the best way we can. That's going to project all our careers to the next level. Because if the label decides, like I used to tell my crew, why don't we just take some of the money, buy a van, buy studio equipment, buy all these things, so that the label decides, we found somebody else to do. Okay, now we bought all the tools we need to go to the next level.
All right, and Doc, I thought I saw you raise your hand. So did you
I
have?
was just gonna
Yeah.
so what he's talking about, like, I mean, it sounds specific to music, but it really is all across the discipline. Because
Yeah.
when I say, when you have a team that is really looking out for you, like they're not trying to necessarily get paid. Like if you have somebody that comes in and say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and help you out with this because I'm waiting for my studio time, or I'm waiting to get on a track, or I'm waiting for you to say something, on the front page of the book. If somebody's always waiting for what they gonna get out of it, then they're not really there for you. But if I got somebody that's looking out for me and they want to see me, they see my potential, they're like, she's gonna do something, and they look out for me, then I'm automatically gonna look out for them. Right. Just the other day, I have some programming, final draft to do, playwriting, screenwriting, right? It's an expensive program. And I had 2 licenses when I bought it. One of my friends, I see she's writing plays and stuff. I said, hey, you can have this other license. Like looking out for other people. That's how a real team should work to me.
Yeah. And to kind of can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And to kind of go off of what Smack was saying, when you get a team and you get people around you, the first thing is having that dialogue of what is everybody's position within that. So there won't be any confusion later. Just like when you write a song, say if me and Smack wrote a song and it got placed on, Power or something, right? And we just made the song in my house. We were just messing around and it got placed. Okay, now we got to decide who gets the splits, who gets what's the percentage. And so if me and Smack weren't friends and we were just 2 cats working together, that could be a very nasty situation. Because now he can say, well, I made the drums, or I played the guitar, or I did this. We don't have nothing documented saying who did what. So it's all about having dialogue first and understanding with the people you're dealing with. Like when I deal with my entertainment lawyer friends, we have an understanding that said, okay, they'll look at X amount of agreements for me for free, just because. But if I bring them like 10 agreements, 20 agreements, then I get a discounted rate because now I'm easing into their business.
Right, you're taking their money time.
Yeah, I'm taking it to their money. But
Right.
it's all about having that initial conversation saying,
Yeah,
this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to go. But usually you'll surround yourself with amazing people when they see how amazing you are. You don't really have to go out and sell yourself and push yourself on people and say, come rock with me. Like, I'm going to blow. If you're working hard and you doing it, they'll gravitate to you because they'll see that energy in you and be like, man, T Double is killing it. I need to go get him on this show. I need to have him do this record. I need to have him, they'll come to you.
That's what happened right now. That's why I invited all of y'all.
Yeah, like me, when me being an artist, like I've never had a manager.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Every record deal I've ever done, I negotiated that deal myself. And you like Smack was going to kind of say your first deal is usually the fuck you deal. That's usually where they get you, right? I've been blessed where all my deals have been profitable. I've never lost money on any of my deals. And I've put out 33 records. I've been to sign the majors. I've toured. I've done all these things and I've never lost money because of how I educated myself. I'm big on education. Any of y'all know me and people watching know I'm big on education. I'm big on ownership of your music. So I implore people to learn more about those things as well, because nowadays a record might have 3 to 6 months lifespan, but if you own it, then it can go for years. I'm still getting money off records I licensed 20 something years ago because I own those records, and I can keep negotiating and renegotiating those deals and those steps to make that continuously work for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So just a quick question.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about the ownership of your music, you're talking about ownership of your name, ownership of your product, ownership of your masters, the whole nine.
Yep.
I think I asked this a little bit, I don't want y'all to give away too much because I want people to be able to reach out to y'all, and every one of you, I want people to be able to reach out to you to learn how to do what it is that y'all do, and to use their resources and whatever
Right.
magical you bestow upon them, But would you recommend going through like a service that does licensing for you, or is it really better and more beneficial to stay as independent as possible, licensing each track yourself through each agency? Like, I don't even know how to ask. Help me ask this question.
Yeah. Well, with licensing and sync deals, I've been doing that for like 18 years. And people like to sign up to agencies, right? Like there's Taxi, CD Baby does it. There's a few others that are out there doing it. My problem with those are like sync library houses, meaning they have 30,000, 40,000 songs, right? That they push whenever they feel like pushing. You don't really have a human you can talk to and say, I sent you my song last week. What's up with it? So I'm real big on the human connection. I like to be able to talk to somebody. But plus, when you go through an agency, the going rate nowadays with most sync companies is they'll take 50% of the placement. So if they place your song for 10,000, they're taking 5,000 out of that, right? And some sync agencies, they do retitling. Right? I'm gonna give a little bit of game here. Some agencies do a thing called retitling, where they'll take, if me and Smack did a song called T and Smack, and we released it and they like it and they want to sync it, they'll take it and they'll call T and Smack ATX. They'll retitle it, and then they'll submit that for a new publishing arrangement with BMI or ASCAP. So they'll sync. They'll sync.
So that's not illegal?
No. So they'll sync that version, right? And so if we separate ways with that agency, they can continue to receive revenue off that song, even though we're not working with them anymore because they retitle it. And It's not illegal because it's in a lot of agreements. That's why reading is fundamental.
Yeah.
It's stipulated in a lot of agreements that that's what they're going to do. And some artists right now are so hungry and desperate because of the pandemic, COVID. They're trying to see how to get in the game. They're signing these horrible contracts. You look online every day, Smack can add to it too. You look online every day and recording artists are complaining about their labels taking their money and they signed a bad contract and
Right.
they thought the label was their friend. The label is not your friend. It's not your buddy. It's not your
Label's
pal.
your pimp.
Yeah, they're not doing anything to help you. You know, if you put a record out, you know, say you release the album, they give you $100,000 advance, you only sell 20,000 records, you're in debt now. So they'll sign you to another album, but they'll take that debt from that 100,000 that they gave you and roll it over on top of the new deal. So now you're 180,000 in debt or whatever you're behind on. And so that's why you just stay forever a slave to that label. And then if you finally get out of that deal, if you finally make it out and they say, okay, no more records, they still have a first refusal. So if I sign Smack and he's on Kinetic, and then I say, you know what, Smack, go be free, go do your thing. And then Def Jam say they want to sign him for $5 million. I got first refusal. So they would have to pay me whatever I ask for, whether it's the debt he owes me plus whatever to take Smack. And so a lot of artists are left in limbo and they never put out any more records for 5 years because they had to sit that time out. So the music industry is very tricky. There's a bunch of sharks in it. Licensing is really the last place right now for artists to make money because there's none really in selling records. There's none in touring. There's none in gigging in clubs. But placements for video and TV has skyrocketed because what everybody's doing, sitting at home watching TV.
Netflix and chill.
Yeah. So a lot of those shows that I had greenlit for 2021, 2022, those are getting aired now because they need content. So a lot of my deals are kicking in now, and I have a lot of step deals. So if I give somebody some music and say, you can use this song for an independent film for free, but if it gets picked up by Lionsgate, whoever, then a certain amount of money kicks in to me and it starts coming in. If it gets put on TV, this much comes in. If it gets picked up by Netflix, HBO Max, any of these other services, another step of money comes in. So the more you're educated in a particular field you're trying to get into, the better you can have that cushion. You know, like I don't have to go out and rap down on 6th Street, right? I don't have to go to a club to rap because I did all this other pre-work over the years. So I still have this money coming in that's got me secure on there. So it's a tricky thing. But to your original question, I always recommend artists staying 100% independent. Do it yourself, own it yourself, own the masters, own the publishing, own the distribution rights, own all the rights you can to your music. So you can always continue to put that out by yourself. You don't have to chase nobody down and do all that.
And ask anybody's permission and wait 5 years or so.
And the thing is too, to add on to it, you know, because we've been licensed to like America's Top Model, we've been on MTV, we did all those things, and I'm glad that I held out and stayed independent because it was it's weird because you get those people that go, well, how come y'all ain't blown up yet? Well, I'm getting the same thing everybody else is getting, but you don't really get to see it that way because I'm not being just bombardedly talked about on a mainstream level. Right. But I could turn on a TV show and go, that's me right there. Listen to that music playing, right? That's us. So that's why I tell artists too that, like, even back then I was telling them, the album you're making right now, keep promoting your first album, your second album, your third album, whatever, because now to this day, I'm making more money off my first album that really didn't do good back then, more now than I did back then. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because of all now my other work is now making new fans go back and buy my old stuff. So now, instead of them buying one album, or like T, I'm pretty sure he's got big checks because if a new fan comes across him, they can now buy his whole catalog in one swoop. You know what I mean? Yeah. As opposed to just buying an album for $10 or whatever, you know what I mean? Now they can buy, if you're buying 33 albums, I mean, just do the math. Like, you know what I mean? That's even if one fan did that, you had a good month. That's like shit.
Yeah, just like when you know, I can always tell when a show that my music has been placed on is airing again because my sales kick back up from previous records. So like the stuff I did for Breaking Bad, which is one of my biggest placements, whenever that airs again in America, wherever, I see my sales in that region of the world, Italy, go up, Africa, go up, Germany, go up, US, go up. I can tell when my music is being shown on TV because people Shazam it. They find it, they watch the end of the show and see who the music was, and they'll go and they'll start buying it. Like, syncing music is the new A&R. That's the new A&R now for record labels. They're finding the new artists to put on TV shows. Like I'm working.
And I don't know how the new artists are surviving because they sign a lot of that away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
I'm just like, damn.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
It goes back to education, right?
They say they perish for lack of knowledge. Like if you don't know anything. Now, Doc, in your creative writing classes, do you deal with anything? Do y'all deal with any of the business of the writing? That's one. This is two different questions that I want you to address here real quick. But do y'all deal with any of the business of the publishing of the writing? And then the other question is, on your project that you're doing, are you doing all of your licensing and publishing when this becomes like the next huge Hamilton hit that I know it's going to be?
Well, for one, I'm using literature from medieval times. So
I'm talking about the music, your song.
It's already public domain. Now the music people, the composer that's doing everything, that's all on her. So we're not even to that level yet, but she does music and I do lyrics. So we'll get to that, but it's not something that comes up in class specifically. I've had students talk about, publishing their own chapbooks and stuff like that. And I'm like, for a first book or whatever, then do that, or, submit to different places. Because if you get picked up by a large publishing company, then, hey, they're going to be the ones that foot the bill when you, when they submit your work to bigger contests, like, National Book Awards or whatever. They're the ones that's going to do that, unless you can do that for yourself as well. So just thinking about the economics of everything and trying to save your own money, then these are the different routes you can do. So like we talk about all the different options, but it's not like a specific part of the course.
Right, but you get it in there. You tell them. I knew you did. It's like, I
try to inform them as much as I can.
I knew you did. Well, thank you. I'm actually like all three of y'all are very, very accomplished in your respective crafts, and I'd like to shift the conversation out a little bit and see if we can talk a little bit about branding. I'd like to start with Smackola on this one, talking about branding. Specifically, I want to kind of get into two things there. How important is branding, and what is the difference between branding and marketing? Because people, and then I'll circle back around to what we were just talking about.
Okay.
So
branding, the difference between branding and marketing. Branding is what you think when you see the logo or your name. Like right now, you don't see the logo on me, but because I'm wearing the color black, you already associate the color black with the Dirty Worms because we've always put it on something black. So that's a one way of branding. I'm my brand, so my face is the brand.
You with Dirty Worms.
So if you see me in my black car, you were to see me and go, oh, you think Dirty Worms because not just because, oh, that's Smack in that car. It's like, oh, that's Smack in a black car. That's Smack wearing all black. That, you know what I mean? So it all starts. If you see me working out, you associate the Worm Athletics division of our brand with the brand. If I start talking conspiracy talk or black, you see with the black tea talk, it's black with the logo in black. And people are like, you can't really see it because the logo's black with the black. Yeah, that's the point. You know what I mean?
Just blackity black, black, black.
Yeah, blackity black, black, black. So colors have a lot to do with branding. But I always tell artists, when you're getting ready to start, make sure you have some type of logo, a symbol, because we're all symbol minded. We deal with symbols all day. So now you have a symbol. This is your brand. Now marketing is the platform we would jump on.
I was gonna say real quick, I see y'all.
We're marketing right now. So right. We're on
Well, look,
Facebook.
Your symbol's right behind your head. I see it.
Oh yeah, on the yeah. So, or it's on the tie. It's half of the face of the tie, right? So like, and then marketing would be where you marketing yourself: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. magazines. That's where you would market yourself.
Right, because
to find your market.
Because y'all all three have like, yeah, there's some spots where y'all's markets would overlap where you're pitching your work, but there's a lot of spots like where they don't overlap. So like knowing your audience is really important. Like it might not be all that beneficial for somebody who is placing their music in movies and things to put a flyer up at a music venue, at a live music venue, because like if they're out, people are out, they're not watching TV, you know, they're out. So like putting it in the right place makes a ton of difference. Where are we at right now with it? Like with all this stuff that's going on and everything is changing, you know, are we going to have to change how we do things to survive this as far as the marketing and everything goes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You definitely have to evolve with the changing times, right? Like a lot of people in the music business, we've been having this discussion for years about moving a lot of stuff online and not focusing so much on live performances and gigs, but finding other ways to promote and brand and market yourself and to keep people attracted to what you're doing. So now is the perfect time. I like to call it, you know, musical house cleaning. Now is the time to look at everything you're doing, whether it's your publishing, your music, where your stuff is sold, and clean all that up and make sure that it's streamlined and it's not in millions of places. You know, I tell artists because, you know, I do a lot of consulting with my Urban Artists Alliance for, you know, Macomb's Business School, Austin Music Foundation, a lot of people. And I tell artists, the first thing they should do is get a website. You need a website where people can go directly to you and not hop around the internet. Like when I see artists, I'm like, where can I hear your music? Oh, Instagram at so-and-so, Twitter at so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. So put all that on your website. Put it on your website.
Say your website first.
Yeah, so I can go to your website and then I can swim around in there and find out what I like. If I want to buy anything, your videos or whatever, have that on there. So really streamline what artists are doing. And a lot of artists are doing live streaming performances right now, but they haven't figured out how to translate that into a revenue stream.
Well, and how does that play into, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask y'all about that, like with this Facebook thing now, starting October 1st.
Right.
They're saying like no more live streaming because they can't, because of the licensing issues, right? So like y'all all have your own work. Like Doc has her own work, you've got your own work, and Smack's got his own work, right? But if you wanted to play your work, sorry, hang on, this dog is, this was, you know, you want to see me get, let's see. Yeah, see that, look, if the dog gets away with this frozen Uno card right here, my kid, that'll be the, but no, with all the licensing and stuff now, so like we've all got, you know, you got your own work. But if you're playing your work in your background on your Facebook page, Facebook can say, they can pull it, mute it, stop it, take your stuff offline because of licensing things. Even if you tell them, well, it's mine. Like I authorize,
they do it to me all the time.
I authorize myself to use my music.
And then I have to hit them and say, hey, that's
let's
me.
See, how do we get around this? How do we get around this as artists? Because, you know, it's not just musicians that have recorded work that's licensed, right. You know, how do we get around this? And with your website thing, that's what I was saying, is like, we're just gonna have to all do everything streaming from our own websites, but
get ready to be on your website.
Yeah. You gotta, you know, you really gotta invest in yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? You might have to get you a nice camera and start creating your own content and upload it to your own site. You know, and like when Facebook acts funny, because they did that to me too when I was doing a live stream one time, and I was breaking down some of my old songs, and they muted part of my video and say, you're playing songs, but the songs were mine.
That's like you're playing licensed music. Like, yes, it's licensed to me.
To me, it's my stuff, right? So you can do like Smack and, you know, and jump over to YouTube. You know, there's plenty of platforms that you can go put your music on. And as long as you have, you know, when you're on Facebook and Instagram and you're building all these friends and all these people, funnel them to your website. Because I take it back, you know, to MySpace. Remember when everybody was on MySpace and we had thousands of friends. We had thousands of friends on MySpace. They shut MySpace down overnight. We all had to start over, right? Mm-hmm. So now is the time for you to be building that data with your friends and their emails so you can keep them plugged in. So you say, T-Double's launching this channel over here. Start watching it Monday at 10 like Smack does. So start watching it here. People can start gravitating towards that. So we just have to think outside the box, and we have to always, think like a rapper. Hip hop has always been punk rock. Hip hop has always been outside of the norm. Hip hop has always been, they're doing that, let's do this. And as long as we're over here trying to do this new thing in a new way, there's no rules. There's nobody saying you can't do it this way.
That is my favorite. You said there's no rules. That is my only.
There's no rule.
That is my favorite.
Nope. You know what I mean? Nobody can tell you can't do this because you're doing hip hop. Hip hop is free form. You can do whatever you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it. You know what I mean? Just the way Smack promotes his stuff, the way I built my brand. Like, people had found out about me being a rapper, and then I got into production, and then I got into licensing, and then I got into education. So I have at least 7, 8 things going on, which all can generate revenue at the flip of a switch. I can keep doing them for free, but when I want to, I can make them start generating revenue.
That's
so
awesome.
it's time to think outside the box and be the creators and be the owners of our art form that we all know we can be. And and people will gravitate towards, and they'll follow you, and they'll watch it, and they'll stream it, and word of mouth will do it as long as the content is good. There's a lot of people streaming, but they're doing horrible content. Their content is horrible, so nobody wants to watch it.
There's something out there for everyone.
There is. But you have some people.
Their mama likes it.
Some people have like the best camera angles and the best editing and the best this, but they're not talking about nothing.
Like, I got a dog sitting behind me right now. Like, that's what I got.
That's good TV.
Like, I have a dog chewing on my elbow. That's what I have.
But now it's the time to think outside the box.
So, Doc, so first, like, T-Double, thank you for that. There was something you said there that I'm gonna have to. You said you started, you're a rapper, you're an MC, and then you're an educator, and then right. So I'd actually like Doc to kind of share some of her journey with us as well, because Doc is known for certain things as well. And she built a brand for herself as well within the spoken word community, and then with of course the community of educators and
that's kind of hard to I can't even tell you how that happened.
Like, how'd you get here? What happened?
I really can't tell you how that happened. I went and did poetry. I didn't even come up with my own name. The audience and the host gave me my name. I was spitting a poem one day, and then the next time I went up, they said, "Hey, we about to have Doc come up here." I call her Doc because you about to sit on her couch. She about to tell y'all the truth. And then everybody started calling me Doc. And so I started calling me Doc. And it just went from there. And then people assume that I have a doctorate because I, teach on the college level, but I don't. I have a couple masters,
Dr.
but
Dre.
She said I have a couple masters. I got a couple of them.
But so with my team, a couple of my best friends also do poetry. So having people, when I say other creatives around you to, kind of spark that. My best friends are poets, and we've always said to each other, iron sharpens iron. So we run poems by each other. We have writing groups, all of that. And I think that's just part of it. And then when it came time to coach a team, I had been on several slam teams. So they said, "Hey, we got an old head here. Let's let her coach." Did well in coaching. So it just kind of kept growing. Even now, I haven't slammed in I don't know how long.
But you're gonna.
But I still get gigs doing stuff, I'm hosting a radio show, and I said, "Well, are you paying your artists?" I'm still getting paid doing poetry stuff when I haven't even done a whole lot of poetry. Like I've written an opera and a couple plays, and that's the stuff I've been doing lately, but I'm still working off the poetry.
Let me interrupt for a minute. I love being in a room with people who talk about the ginormous things that y'all have done. Like, it's just like, and it literally is just the tippy top of the iceberg. And like, y'all are like, "Yeah, I've written operas, I've sold a bazillion records, I've been on like hit TV shows, but like, really, y'all, really?"
It happened so
it's
fast.
No big deal.
I'm like, I haven't done that yet. Let me see if I can do it. I just did it.
It's
on
done.
to the next one.
It's done. So follow through matters then, right?
So,
like, is that the key, do you think? Like, you're talking about content and things earlier too, but like, what if someone, and we have all seen this, let's be real, right? We've all seen it. Somebody is not good. Like, they are not good.
right.
But they are driven and they follow through with every single thing they start.
Master P.
They start. Stop it. I cannot with you and Master P.
Master P, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He's the prime example to me of that.
That's
He
the
had the
best
drive.
thing.
He didn't really have the talent. He was, he was horrible. It was horrible.
Oh no.
I lived in California when it was horrible.
But
he kept going. Yeah.
The thing with artists like Master P though is he knew where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
He knew where his end result is. You know, like me, when I mailed my first demo to Warner Brothers when I was 9 years old. So at 9, I knew I wanted to be in the music business. And my mom, who was a teacher, retired, she always told me, well, what are the steps you're going to take to get there? Are you going to sit around and wait for somebody to come to Austin and find you rapping somewhere? Because Austin wasn't really a hip hop city, still not really. They're like, you going to wait for that or what you going to do? So I just got my money together, got me a little studio, started recording. I said, okay, I made a demo. I let my friends hear it. I had honest friends who would say, nah, the beat is whack. The rap could be better. You know, and a lot of those guys who were my friends at 13, they're still my friends now in our 40s. You know what I mean? Because
let's pause for a minute. You've been in Austin your whole life, right?
Yeah, born and raised. Right. Born and raised. I'm a unicorn, as they say.
It's a unicorn, that's right. I just wanted to bring that up. Yay.
Yeah. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So once you have a vision of where you want to be, it's up to you to achieve that. And you can get discouraged, especially being in Austin, which isn't really a hip hop city. It's easy to get discouraged and be, man, it's never gonna happen here. I need to go to LA. I need to go to so and so. It's in you. It's your energy. Whatever you put out with that music and your art is what's gonna make the scene happen. It's what's gonna make you happen. Like, I've been here my whole life, and I'm critically acclaimed nationally, globally, and I've never had to move to New York, LA, Atlanta, Nashville, nowhere. I've done it all. That's why a lot of people call me the ambassador, right? Because I'm from here and I put in that work here. So follow through is very important to know what you want to do and making sure that the people around you are on that journey for the betterment of you. Like, when I started really getting into music, I lived over by Colony Park, and every Sunday we had a couple of groups called 2-4 Soldiers. You had me, you had Mirage, who I got a record deal later, and a few other people. We would get together on Sunday, and I was the only one with music business books. So we would sit in a circle at my friend's house. You know, they'd be smoking the joints or whatever, and we would each read a page out the book and pass it to the next person. Nice. They read a page. The next, because I was the only one with the books, but I wanted everybody to be educated. Right. Because when you're the only one who knows the business, it's easy for darkness to come in and people say, I think he's trying to fuck us because he's the only one who knows. So I made sure everybody was as educated with everything in there. So it's all about the give back. When you're blessed in an opportunity, you got to give that opportunity back. When I got my deal with Good Vibes with Jay Dilla and all them, I signed Mirage. You know what I mean? Because I want to make sure that we had a pipeline to Austin so other artists can start getting signed. So you got to know what your vision is on a bigger scale, more than your neighborhood, more than your bedroom. What can you do on a larger scale?
I'm gonna add to that because I literally just talked to a class earlier. When people know that you are, trying to educate them and let them know, they don't feel like they're in competition with you either. Right. So I tell my classes all the time, you should be your only competition. Yep. I'm a better writer today than I was yesterday, and I'm gonna be a better writer tomorrow than today. So they need to know that.
Exactly. And being in Austin, I think it's important for Black artists, young and old, to see people like us more in the media. Like, me and Smack had this talk all the time where I'm always cussing the Chronicle out because they want to interview me. They're like, yo, T-Double, we want to interview about all these records you've done. And I'm like, well, let's interview me about my business acumen. Right. About what I've done on that. Because I think Black creatives need to see that too on the cover of the Chronicle. That's just not who's the hottest rapper. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of
Exactly.
issues. I have a lot of issues with the media that's why I don't do too many interviews, because that's the main thing I ask them. What are we going to talk about? Me
Thank you
freestyling.
for coming.
Yeah, I'm like, me freestyling, me rapping, me. Everybody knows I do that. Like, but I do 10 other things that are pretty fucking amazing that can inspire some people. Let's talk about that.
It's like
They don't
y'all are
want to talk about
business
that.
people, educators, like community pillars, and that's the part. That's the stuff. I mean, I love the creative stuff. Okay, I'm fans of all of y'all's work. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but that is exactly why I asked y'all here. It's like y'all know a lot, and educate us. Y'all are educators. Y'all are something. Because like you were saying, you were kind of saying it tongue in cheek, being funny, saying you only had your 3 mixtapes or whatever, you know. But if somebody is not,
I only have 3.
but if somebody has not done it, and then how can they really tell you?
Like, you got to
know?
understand too, once you've done it, like me and T have, the rapping part is actually very small.
It's small.
It's small compared to everything else that we're doing.
But you have
to
be.
I mean? And every time I tell an artist too, every time I'm gearing up to drop an album, it's like I'm putting up my title belt. I could lose, not lose in the sense of I'm really losing something, but you could lose, like, because financially I'm backing it myself. So that's the risk I'm taking. I don't see too many people that do that.
Nah.
To gamble on yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's a different feeling when you're getting ready to drop and you're like, man, I'm putting the money up for this, I'm paying for that, I'm about to, you know what I mean? I think with me and T, I always tell T, I said, we were the type that we wanted to generate money, not get paid or get a paycheck.
Right.
I wanted to be able to generate the money.
Right.
Yeah,
as opposed to somebody handing me or somebody paying me.
Yeah, like every arrangement that I get in contact with, or every contract that I negotiate, I think about my daughter. I'm thinking, how would this benefit her in the long term if I sign this deal? I don't think about, let me get this 100,000 right now. I'll take 20,000 right now, but I'll negotiate the deal that over X amount of times, it'll be close to $500,000, $1 million. You know, I have a publishing company. I have a publishing company called Kinetic Global Publishing. I have Tierney Johnson Publishing, and I have Violet Faye Publishing, which is for my daughter. So when I receive publishing goes into both of those. So every time I do something that generates money, it goes into a fund for my daughter. So money is always being made for the future generation. I think of generational wealth, not just being famously rich right now. You know what I mean? A lot of people want to be. A lot of people are really famously poor. I'd rather be silently wealthy. You know what I'm saying?
We had to look like we was not winning,
right?
Even though we're winning, but if you base it on a scale of, well, you're not on TV all day, but those people that are on TV all day, if you really got to know most of them, they're not really that happy. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on.
Right, just like Joe Budden was talking about with his Spotify deal. When he he stepped away from that because they basically offered him the nigga deal, as we call it in the industry. Mm-hmm. That's where they give you the cheapest of the cheapest of the cheapest for the most of your assets. They'll give you the smallest bit of money, but they want the bigger chunk of everything you do. So Spotify was offering him a small bit of money, but they wanted to backtrack and put ads on all his older videos and generate money off of all that older content. So he walked away, and a lot of people didn't understand it. But he's on the mindset of ownership.
That's his.
I want to own this. You know, Dame Dash talked about it a lot, and they said Dame Dash was crazy. And he was talking this 10 years ago. Own it. You know, and I've been talking that for years. Smackola been talking that for years. That's why
they say we was all crazy.
Yeah, that's why nobody.
Y'all should have signed that deal and just got famous, and then came back. And I'm like, nah, bro. Like, it's really. I've always said this too. It's really unrealistic for you to have 1 million fans.
Right.
It's kind of unrealistic.
Whatever. Nuh-uh.
No, it is because when you think about it, that takes a machine. That takes a machine to really do that. Now you can get the 1 million fans.
This computer's
a machine. But if you just go boom, if you just get them like this, boom, all of a sudden overnight, I guarantee you, when they take you out that machine, boom, just like that, they're gonna be gone too. On to the next.
Yeah, exactly.
But your diehard fans are gonna grow with you. It should be the long game and grow.
Well, that's kind of, that comes back to a couple of different things. Like, so y'all mentioned, and Doc, I want you to talk about this because I think this is something that it's like right in your, you teach a class on this. But so the gentleman we're talking, y'all said like an album might last, like might stay hot for like 3 months, right? And
Yeah.
then, and you teach creative writing, and you teach, you know, literature and reading and you know, reading of these things, these pieces that have been around forever, right? Literature that's been around for much longer than 3 weeks, right? I'm going somewhere with this. But, and then Smokey Robinson said that a song that is a good song will be, that a well-written song will still be a good song in 50 years, as good a song in 50 years as it is today, because the story of it is good.
Right.
So, tell me about the why, what is the difference between the songs, like an album, besides the attention span, but the content of the music versus something that would last and be considered poetry 50 years from now, because that's what songs are. That's what raps are. That's what songs are. They're songs, poetry.
When we talk about longevity,
yes,
of any artistry, I guess. For one, with most stories, songs, whatever, there's one story, the monomyth, and it's just a continued story, and it's told so many different ways. So if you find the right way to say something in a new way, then that's what people are really drawn to. Like, is this person doing something new with it? But you have like these canons that exist, whether they be literature or music or whatever, of these classic songs, these classic stories that people are going to keep going back to. And those are the things that we keep revisiting. The project that I'm working on right now is to do a modern retelling of Chaucer's tales in hip hop. So I'm taking something that is very, very white, and I'm like, you know what? I want to make sure that students of color have accessibility to this story. Like, this story isn't going anywhere, so let's make it our story. When T was mentioning earlier, there are no rules to it. Well, then I'm gonna make it my own, you know? And I think that's important. So there's the longevity on that side of it, but then there's also the longevity with creatives. There's also, there's something very cathartic about getting your story out in any way, whether it's a painting or a song or a poem. You get it out so you don't hold it in, and then that's something that's going to stay with you too.
Just that whole experience of putting it out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
People connect to it emotionally. So
yeah, that's what I'm just about to say. The emotional aspect of being a songwriter. Like, when I write my songs, I don't write a song thinking I want to get this on the radio,
right,
or how would this look as a video. I'm like, this is how I'm feeling today. Let me script it out. Let me write it. Let me produce it. You know, as you see here, I write the song, I produce the beat, I mix it, I master it, I move on to the next thing. I rarely linger on a song. You know what I mean? So I write it in that moment. I capture a timepiece of that artistry, and then I release it. And so it's up to the people listening to your music to latch on to it, for them to see what, if they feel that emotional connection with it as well. You know, like when people hear Eminem, when that song Stan or other songs, people saw themselves either being Eminem or being Stan, but they saw themselves in that song. And that's why it became such a big hit. Because when people can relate to what you're doing, like Smokey Robinson, when he was writing songs, well, he's still writing songs, but his earlier songs, it was early love. It was the 60s. It was a lot of turmoil. And he put that into his music. Like when Marvin Gaye did What's Going On, they rejected that album. They said, we want to do dance, pop. We want dance and stuff.
The people need,
and they needed
the truth.
So they put it out, and then it became the classic that it is. Just like Bob Marley.
Yes, and I hate to cut you off and interrupt, but since we're talking about feeling, I want to tell y'all, I was watching, you know, our buddy here is a filmmaker, you know, and I was watching his music videos, and tell me how to pronounce the one that I like. I mean, I like all of them, but I'll sit there, you watch these things and they're so cinematic and everything, just part of the whole experience of it all, you know, even though it's like, yeah, this is a rock hip hop track, but this is a cinematic experience. What is the one? I don't want to butcher the name.
Hasta que muera.
That one.
Yeah. Hasta que
Yes.
muera.
Yes. And then the memories one, the memory of a dream one,
Dreams of
dreams
memory.
of memories one. I mean, I like all the videos, but those, and then that vampire series. Anyway, so it's all part
Yeah.
of the experience, though, right? Part of the emotion
yeah,
behind
when
it.
I did those, it was my transitional period because okay, so I'm already making music. When we were shooting music, I mean, to see us is already kind of very theatrical looking. So we have to have videos because there's no way we can just walk into somewhere and go, hey, we're here for the poetry night. You know what I mean? So we kind of have to have like some kind of visual.
You could.
Well, I mean, it's just based off because I was thinking of because we do shows and I wanted the shows to be when you come to it, it's an experience. Like it's like the show started when you got to the parking lot. Yeah. Like
and the tall models and spiky
I basically
bras.
wanted to throw a big rock concert in a small club, basically. So with the videos, what I did was I was like, well, pretty soon since I had to start learning to shoot my own music videos because it costs too much. I was adding it up. I'm like, he wants $4,000. Okay, let me just for $4,000, I could buy a computer and a camera. And then that's the route I went. And I said, I'm gonna just teach myself to do it. I've been around Roy Jones and them long enough in the HBO truck, seeing how they do it to know how to edit. So I was like, I got this.
That's not something people just pick up by watching people.
Well, it's not nothing I wanted to do. And it reminds me of something I saw Mike Tyson say. Mike Tyson said, you really don't know who you are because you don't know what you're gonna do tomorrow. You're still trying to you're always gonna figure yourself out. So you really don't know who you are yet. So if you would have told me in the beginning, hey man, one day you're gonna be shooting the music videos, doing merchandise and blah, 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 I would be like, what? I just want to rap. You know what I mean? That was my first, right? So when I started doing the music videos, for me, it was also a pivotal moment to be like, okay, I need to provide a service. So most artists want music videos. Now, who better to get one from than another artist that knows what looks cool? I see a lot of other videographers that'll shoot a music video, but they don't really know what looks cool.
No, they do it all artistically. Like
they're just doing it. And I'm like, and you know, so I looked at it like, and this is gonna be my way to get into movies. So I decided to shoot them like they were little movies, continuations from each other. So that if anything, maybe another 5 years from now, Al Pacino or somebody will say, damn, we need to get him to do this right here. He's already been doing it. You know what I mean? That's how I was kind of looking at it.
Like I had to turn off the one with the vampire when she saw Win in that room.
The blood and fire, yeah.
Look, I had to turn it off.
And so that's what I tried to do too, was because I didn't like how a lot of rap videos, like, you know, you kind of seen one, you seen them all kind of thing. Like, all right, here come the nigga with the duffel bag. What's in the duffel bag? All right, it's money or drugs. Okay. Oh, somebody jacked you. Oh, now y'all coming back to shoot him up.
Right.
You got the model chicks behind you. She got a little gut on her, but she all right. She counting the money up. You know what I'm talking about. You're in your car. You got two chicks around. Like, it's not really real life, and when you cut the volume off, it just looks like one long video. It's like cars, money, designer clothes, and you know, it's like blowing smoke. You gotta have the blowing smoke scene.
Yeah. You gotta
have the I'm kneeling down by the rim so you can see I got the rims on the fucking car. So I decided I want to make them themes so that when people watch them, they're like, yo, that's cool. That's a different concept that he came with last time. I also, even when I would record the music, like T said, I'm in the moment. So my tone isn't the same. You might have to hear a record and go, who's that? That's Smack. Damn, it don't. Okay, now I hear it. You know what I mean? But at first, you don't really hear it. I just decided, like you said, there's no rules. So I'm going to do Smackola. It's going to be every time you hear a record, that don't sound like how he sounded on the last song. He sound totally different now. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of what I did.
For the variety.
We talk about that catalog, right? Like I was gonna ask you, Doc. Like, You've got this. Look, okay. So can I tell them about the panties? I just did. I already did.
Go on.
It was a long time ago.
What happened?
Continue.
What happened?
Doc, what happened?
So let me tell you, when you first become an artist, you wanna please the audience, right? I wasn't necessarily writing for me at the time. I was writing for the audience, like, oh, I'm about to hit them this week with
She is
this.
so
And
talented.
for
so
the most
good.
part, a lot of people wanted to hear all the poems, very sexual innuendo type poems, that sort
Erotic.
of thing. Yes, erotic poems.
poems.
And those were the poems that they would always ask for. And I started writing other things, but those weren't the poems that I would perform. I would perform what they asked for. And so I was like, okay, well, this week I'm gonna hit them with this poem. And one of the last lines of one of the poems was something about leaving it on the mic. And I pulled a pair of panties out of my pocket, hung them on the mic, and walked off. And so then they started expecting that. So I did it a few times, but that was before I built the range. Before I only saw myself as a poet. Now I consider myself as a writer. So
and that's why I wanted you to tell that, is because like now you wrote an opera, so you went you got your range goes from panties on the mic to now an opera, and that's incredible. That's incredible. And you'd be just as comfortable, and you are better than most people I know at all of that, from everything in between, like, oh, you want an opera? Okay, I got you, put on your bustle and everything. It's like, oh, you want, look, what day of the week?
I would have never said, just like Smack just said, I would have never said back in the day, I'm gonna write an opera one day. Like, what?
I love
now, what
that.
was the name of the poem of the panty thing?
I don't even remember. Most of my poems don't even have titles.
Yeah.
So,
What was the one where you said, I'm gonna leave it on the mic, or what'd you say?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the poem.
He's got
You should find out what it is if you can. Buy some panties and have that put on the panties and sell that at your table.
That's your merch, is leave
like
it
a
on
catchy
the
little
mic.
slogan, like, I'm gonna leave it right here.
Ooh, that is so nice.
I'm gonna give you that one.
Thank you.
I don't even want a percentage.
They'll be selling panties at an opera.
Like, she sold how many of those?
But you know what though? If
I told her to do that.
Look, if somebody takes their person to the opera, that's a date night. So I mean, buying panties, I mean, it goes together. It fits. I like it.
Right. Yep. Yep.
You can start a trend with it. You get where girls can now buy these panties. You say, yeah, girl, when you kind of want to tell them like it's on, you could just like when he leaves or something, like leave the panties in his car, on his mirror or something. You know how they used to do that?
It's like the
and when he looks at the mirror and says, who are
hanky.
these? And it'll just say, I'm gonna leave this right here.
Like it's the modern day dropping of the hanky. Right. That's hilarious.
I'm laughing, but the trend that I really want to start is more Black and brown people writing operas, or more Black and brown people dealing with medieval literature. I want us to be everywhere.
Yeah.
But we are everywhere is the thing. We
noticed and getting paid for it.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, let's talk about Chadwick Boseman for a minute, if that's okay. Because he was somebody who was obviously very, very influential. And y'all are all people that produce content y'all are also very influential, because people hear and see and read what y'all write and do and put out in the world. Mr. Boseman made it a point to make sure that his parts that he took were beneficial. Do you think that that's something that is important are artists allowed to stay neutral these days? That is my question. Are artists allowed to stay neutral?
I think,
or do we need to be writing music do we need to be as disciplined in that? Because that man turned down so much money because he wasn't willing to take certain parts.
I think, artists, it's up to the artist, right? Like, we have to build that self-confidence up in ourselves to be able to say no. I would get offered gigs on 6th Street and I would turn them down because, I was part of Hip Hop Hum Day, or I was part of Boombox, or I was part of something big. And they were like, we want to book you, T-Double, over here. And I'm like, well, I can't play your venue because you had a thing in your window that said no hats, no shirts, no this, no that. But you were letting all the white boys in wearing the exact same thing.
Because you're racist.
Yeah, so I can't play your venue. I refuse to play your venue. And it's, you know, and you lose money, but it builds up your character. It makes you a stronger person because you know that you can say no whenever. Like I have no problem telling a company, an entity, no. You know, if somebody wanted to book Hip Hop Hum Day or Boombox for something and I didn't feel comfortable with it, I'd say no. I'm like, y'all can do it, but I'll say no.
But I'm not gonna go.
But since we were so tight as a crew, if one of us said no, everybody else said
everybody
no.
said no.
That's why you didn't see a lot of us doing those weird festivals and all types of stuff, because they'll say, we want to book you for our festival, but we want you to go on at, you know, noon, and we want to pay you X amount of dollars. Well, we're just as good as
the 9 o'clock set, right?
Why don't we go on then? Okay, well, never.
And they're like, well, you should be glad that we even asked you, because Austin has just recently started including Black and brown folks in their festivals.
Yeah,
so
that could be
that's a whole different.
Zoom.
Yeah, that's a whole other show. But it's happening,
Zoom.
and yes, that we can do that. Let's talk about that next month.
Yeah, but artists, you know, definitely we definitely need to stand up and puff our chest out and say, I will not do that. I refuse to do that. And the thing is, a lot of other artists, like white artists and so, they can say no because they got that fuck you money. They've been able to generate enough funds where they can say, fuck you, I'm not doing that. Right? And that's what a lot of us don't have. We don't have that money where we can say no. So we'll go play a gig for $50. We'll go play a gig for tip jars. We'll, you know, when somebody asks me to play a gig, I'm like, well, can I get a piece of the bar? They're like, oh, well, we don't have a cover. You can get tip jars. If people are coming in there to see me perform, they're buying drinks, I need a percentage of that bar. Because I'm not going to be shucking and jiving on stage with 8 other people and we all get $1 a piece.
Right.
I'm not 15, right? I'm not a young kid anymore. You have to pay me like I'm worth. And you have to go in there and say, this is what I demand. This is what I've accomplished in my life. So this is what you have to pay me. And venues hate that, especially from us, Black people, to get uppity, right? Oh, now you getting out of line now. You know, T, now you know you should just, you've been rapping a long time, T. You still need to have a show.
I should what?
You know, they're like, you still need to be rapping somewhere. People aren't gonna see you, T, if you know, come on now. But I manage my own thing. I have my own following. I created my own ecosystem where what I do is not based on the live music capital of the world. Right. When Austin clubs closed down, it didn't affect me one bit because I wasn't playing those venues anyway. I wasn't getting booked anyway. They wasn't paying me or my friends anyway. So when they write me in emails, they do a lot of behind the scenes trickery shit. They'll write me an email and say, yo, T, can you come and, you know, join this petition for Austin venues? And I say, well, who's on that petition? And I'll go through the list and say, they didn't pay me. They didn't pay me. They didn't pay me. They didn't book me. I'm not in it. So then I become the asshole. They're like, T-Double's an asshole. You know what I mean? Like when I talk to people and they're like, yo, T, go negotiate that in the way that T-Double does, because I don't play around. I'm like, this is what we want to get paid. This is what we need. This. And they're like, oh shit. Okay, cool.
So, right now, Doc, I saw you raise your hand, or were you just like, man, yes.
So I taught a class on poetry and performance. And so the question came up about, you know, should you expect to get paid and all of that. And so I was straight up with my students. I said, listen, y'all are new. And yeah, you're gonna have to build up your work. You got to build up your credibility. People have to want to see you perform some poetry first off. So you got to build that up. Once people start reaching out to you, that's when you charge them.
Yep.
Like if I'm reaching out to you, hey, y'all got this show coming up, y'all got any spots on it? If I'm reaching out to you, then yeah, I might do it for free. But if you reaching out to me, what's your budget?
Exactly.
Are you paying artists? I gotta know.
Exactly. And now's the time, especially the way the industry is right now. The industry is a level playing field right now. The record labels don't have the hierarchy anymore because they're not touring. Their bands aren't doing anything. So everybody's online like this. So now it's the time for us to really step it up and work harder, because Smackola can put a show out tomorrow. You can do your show tonight, but a record label has to go through administrative duties, licensing. They have to go through at least 20, 30 steps before they can move something. And that takes months. So we can move quicker now. So now it's the time for us to create and be the innovators, and lead the industry, lead all of our industries like we've been doing since the beginning of time.
That's
Everybody
really
copies what we do, and then they let us be backup singers.
Which is ridiculous, isn't it? I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Like I had a discussion with some artists in Austin, some major white artists. And they were like, "Oh, we support Black Lives Matter and boom, boom, boom." And I'm like, "Well, are you going to let these musicians perform, open up for you? Are you going to let them be on tour with you? Are you going to put more of us on the records with you? Or are you just going to get us to be the 3 Black people wearing all black, singing backup in the back?" Because that's usually where we are at a lot of these shows. We're the doo-wop.
The token Black friends.
Yeah. So it's time for us to really have those honest conversations and say, this is who we are. You just can't say Black Lives Matter. You're not really showing it. You're not really showing us any tangible efforts that you really support all of our movements.
That
Right. What you got on that, Smackola?
I agree. Like, you know, I mean, you know, I always tell artists, like what Doc said, like, hey, you're new. I need to see, are you even any good? Are you in this for the long haul? Like, do you actually understand this is gonna be years in the making? You know what I mean? Like this ain't something you're just gonna, and a lot of artists, that's what they think. I'm gonna just get in here, I'm gonna do it 2 or 3 times and I'm gonna be big.
Or they get that one hit and then they think they're the greatest. Like, no, you got to have a repertoire, you got to have a catalog of some material that's all good.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's just a lot of work involved. But yeah, we gotta stand our grounds. I've been offered plenty of record deals that I've had to turn down because they wanted my back catalog. I'm like, no, I'll do this new song you want to do, and because I caught on to the game too. Like, just to give you some game, like a lot of those record labels, what they'll do is they'll come to you now that you have a catalog, and they'll say, okay, hey, we want to sign you and put this record. And you're looking at it like, oh, this is great, this is huge, I'm gonna be huge, right? But for some collateral, we need to sign your whole back catalog, right? This is what they'll want to do. And also we need to license out that logo you have for your merchandise and take that over. But now you're already getting checks for this stuff already. So what you're basically saying is, okay, you want my back catalog. If I sign this deal and you get ready to put my record out, if you're smart as the record label, you're going to make sure that my album fails that you're about to put out, because now you obtain my entire catalog.
Oh,
and now
yeah.
now that you have my entire catalog, you'll always make sure the record projected to sell will just fall short, but you almost made it. Maybe on this next record. And basically all you're doing now is taking the money that I've already been generating and you're paying me an allowance out of that and just keeping me on the line. Mm-hmm. Now, if I go in debt, what a lot of labels will do too is, so you sign with them, they make sure they don't really push your records that far, they just fall short. So they'll let you go, like T said. Now, if another label comes around, they want to sign you for what? Oh, well, we need to get our full money back first, and then whatever's left over, you can live off of or try to make it happen, right? So then what ends up happening is some of those will say, oh, well, don't even worry about it. We'll even help you get some shows. Yeah, they're helping you. So now you're no longer on the label. They're still helping you get shows and doing shows with you because they're getting a cut. So technically, you're not on the label, but you're still working like you're on the label.
You're still beholden to the label.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many people they have signed and done this way? Or they used to sign a publishing deal with you.
I've seen Cadillac Records.
And then hopefully what they'll do is they'll take somebody like we were talking about earlier that they could see, that person, that artist right there has drive. They're gonna go no matter what. Let's sign a publishing deal on them right now. And it doesn't go anywhere. But then they go on about their life, and then maybe in about 5 or 6 years, who went number 2 on what? Oh, hold on. Oh shit, we got some money because we own the publishing.
Yep. That's kind of like how it was with my Good Vibe deal when I got that deal. When I got that deal in around 98. and the record came out in 99. But at the time I was working at Arista Records here in Austin, you know, Bad Boy, LaFace, all that. They had an Austin office here. There used to be a lot of record labels in Austin. So I was working at Arista Records. So when I met Good Vibes, they heard me freestyle. They was like, hey, you know, we want to put a single out on you. I said, no, I want to do an album. They was like, we could probably do that. Okay, cool. We'll sign you. I said, no, I want a label deal because I want to own that master. I want to own that publishing. I had been soaking up tons of game at Arista Records, right? Like I was handling marketing and A&R. So I said, these are the things I want because I wanted to come back to Austin and I wanted to sign Mirage. I wanted to sign Icon. We had a bunch of artists we were working with. So I was able to negotiate that deal where it was a label deal. So that way I was never in debt to that record label, right? So when they switched distributors, they were trying to go to Def Jam and that deal fell through. A lot of artists who were signed to the label as artists were in limbo. They couldn't move, right? Because of their contracts if they're still there for another 3-4 years. Like Slum Village, they couldn't make records for a couple of years. That's why Jay Dilla went solo, started making beats with Q-Tip because they couldn't put out more Slum Village records, right? We were on the same label. But me, I had a label deal. So when their thing fell through, I could take all of my masters and publishing with me. And I could just walk away and I owned everything. That's why last year I put out the 20-year anniversary of that. Mirage this year put out the 20th anniversary of his record. And he owns 100% of that publishing. I gave him all his publishing on that record. And I could have took all that publishing or a big chunk. But he was my boy, and I want him to create some revenue for him to do future things. I say, you know what? You keep all that and you grow and you learn the business. So you really got to be aware of how to negotiate these deals when they come. Because like Smack said, they'll come here and say, hey, here's a little bit of money. We know you need some money right now. Don't you want a bling? Don't you want a car? Don't you know?
That's all you ever gonna see.
Like Cadillac Records, right? When he was like, hey, where's my royalty? He said, you driving it.
You driving it.
Yeah.
You driving it. Everybody should watch Cadillac Records. I recommend that movie all the time.
I love that movie, and it's so sad, and it happens. Excuse me. There's my dog is sitting on the cat. Hang on, please. Hang on. Stop it. Get off the Tucker.
I thought it was a duck.
Yeah. No, I got this. It's Tucker. He's mad. He doesn't like when the dog sits on it.
But yeah, everybody should watch Cadillac Records because it shows you how somebody who's
how they get you.
Like the guy who owned the record label, he came into it sincere. Like, I want to help artists do things. And then when he learned the business and knew he could take advantage of Chuck Berry and all these artists, and he was like, really, oh, you need money for a house? You need money for a house? I'll help you pay for your house. You need money for your daughter? I'll help you. No. And just like Muddy Waters said, he said, I don't take money against the house. Because he had that raggedy truck. He said, pay me what I'm worth.
That was Howlin' Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, Howlin' Wolf. That was the best scene. He was like, pay me what I'm worth. I'm like, that's right. Because then everybody else is in debt, and then you wind up having to sue the record company for a bad contract that you signed. Yeah. You signed that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that happen to so many.
So what are the things, like, what are some things that are actually, this might be some things where they need to just like contact y'all and get like a consultancy for this part of it, but you let me know. What are the big potholes? Like, how are they going to get you every time? Like, if they can get you, because I've done some contract work, like if they can get you, they're going to get you like this.
If they put the money up, they make the rules. It's literally that simple.
Oh.
Yeah, and you know, and to add on that, like I said, education, right? Like if you get an agreement and it's a work for hire, then you're not going to get any revenue off of that particular project. You're
a hired gun.
You give that all away. No matter what they pay you up front, they can give you $10,000. You're not going to make anything else off that. So that's it's really just it's really just sitting down and really educating yourself on the particular field that you're in and how to better maneuver that. Like if you're in music, go, you know, the internet is your friend. Go to Amazon, buy music books, read. Like I read more entertainment law books now than I did when I was younger, because I was like, I don't want to read school, blah, blah, blah. Every day I'm in them entertainment law books because the statutes change every couple of years. Things change that benefit artists. So as long as you know what's going on, you can maneuver all your deals and make the waters a little bit smoother. You're going to come across people who's going to try to shark you and try to get over on you, because that's a part of the industry too. And they know that young Black artists are the easiest prey because sometimes we come from bad neighborhoods, we come from bad families, we want to get out, we want to move, we want to do this and that. So they'll say, okay, I'll give you $5,000. You give me 5 albums, and now you're stuck, forever.
For $5,000.
Yeah, and
this is more money you've ever seen.
Yeah, you'll never see a return on that money. You know what I mean? So you always got to be thinking, like when me and Mirage, when we started Kinetic in Conley Park, we had 5-year plans. I was working at Arista Records. He was going to Prairie View University. So we would talk every day. And whenever I found something at the record label at Arista, because the president of Arista, he would bring me in his office and he would give me game. He would give me contracts. He would say, learn this, read this. So whenever I got that, I would fax it to Mirage. And I would say, read this. This is what the industry is doing now, right? But if you don't have that insight, you'll never know, and they can run circles around you. A&Rs are lawyers now. There's no such thing as an A&R. A&Rs aren't out looking for bands anymore. The A&R is a lawyer. They're the ones who construct your deal. And I went to a panel at South by Southwest because I go to all the legal panels. I would go to all the legal panels.
Yeah.
And it was called Continuing Legal Education. I would go to and there was a Black lady here from Memphis, and she was an entertainment lawyer. And she said her job is to make sure that she can take all of your rights from you. She's brought into the she's brought into the discussion. God. Yeah, she's brought into the discussion to take all your rights from you. So it's up to you to be just as prepared when you get in those negotiations.
Right, to keep your look, no, I want to keep everything.
Yep.
So here's what I'd like then. I got a question for you. I got my pen right here. I want each of y'all to tell me something. I want you to tell me one book or movie or piece of work that I should read, or that we should, all of us, any person in the world. It can be related to what we're talking about right now or not, but
okay.
Stop.
Well, there's a publishing company called NOLA, NOLA, and they put books out on everything, trademark, copyrights, all that.
We didn't even get to trademark.
But I definitely recommend people go pick up the music law book that they have. So you can go to Amazon, you can type in music law NOLA, and this book should pop up, and it's pretty in depth.
All right.
And just read it. I think they're on version 9 now. But just read it and read it over. And some of and I think in the back of that book, they also have a CD or a DVD or a place where you can download actual forms, like copyright forms, split sheets, all those type of things. So you can start reading those and knowing, because really, it's really about the verbiage, right? It's really about knowing the words to talk when you're talking to somebody about it. If they know you don't understand what you're talking about, they'll be like, oh, we can get over on them. Right. But if you say, okay, let's talk split sheets, let's talk cue sheets, let's talk publishing, let's talk master, let's talk terms, let's talk step deals, they'll be like, oh shit. And so the whole conversation changes. They have a little bit more respect for you. But I recommend people go check that book out for sure.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Smackola or Doc, which one of you is ready to?
All right, since T Double gave a book, I'll give a. What's the name? I would say, if you're gonna be into music and you want to get into branding and all that, I would say go study anything you could find on McDonald's. I'm being dead serious. McDonald's, Star Wars, like how Star Wars made how they started making all the action figures before the movie, because they were making the movie, but they didn't really have a deal, so they already put the money into making it. So then by the time they were successful, that was all coming to them. It was smart, but it was unheard of at that time. Star Wars, Apple. And I would look up the James Brown story.
I love James Brown.
And Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
And that should be enough game right there, just hearing them stories. And another one would be Prince. I'd put Prince in that category, and of course Michael Jackson. But
Michael Jackson is cold.
because their stories, because they reached the pinnacle of pinnacleness of, I mean, there's nowhere else to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Prince, like when I mailed my first demo at 9, it was because I saw Warner Brothers records on the back of a Prince album. That's what inspired me to do it, right? So I've been a big fan of Prince, but I think his story should be taught in business schools because they signed him young. They took all his masters in publishing. That's why he had to change his name. That's why he wrote slave on his face. He was going through all these changes until, it took, it was maybe like, I don't know, maybe 20 years or something like that after Purple Rain before he even got that back. You know what I mean? And now Warner Brothers is releasing all his music out the vault through his estate, which is a lawyer and not even his family.
It's not even his family right now.
So Prince, I agree with Smack 1,000%. Go read everything on Prince.
All right. And Doc?
Oh boy. So
ask the professor, the English, the creative writing professor, what should I go read?
So I'm just okay, because I would say all these different comic books, because that's what I love to read.
That's fine.
I tend to read comic books and young adult literature just to get out of the academic side of things, just to get out of the research side of things, just so I can have entertaining reads. But whatever your area of artistry is, if you're passionate about it, then that's what you should be reading. If you want to write plays, read plays. See how characters are introduced, see how plots are unfolded, all of those things. See what's out there so you can do something different, or you can see what's already been done. Follow your craft. And not only that, but you can go to like YouTube and you can see all these different interviews with these different screenwriters, directors, authors. Go look up advice from authors, advice from playwrights, advice, and you'll see all these different clips of people saying this positive stuff and encouraging things that like might spark something in you, or you might even learn something. So I would just say follow your craft, do research on that.
That's awesome. Thank you. So
and look up public domain.
Look up public domain.
There you go.
All right. Why
Public domain?
Tell us why.
Because you don't have to deal with none of that licensing stuff. You're like, okay, it's been around long enough. Now I can do whatever I want with it, and I can make it mine, and I don't have to pay nobody, and I get everything.
Was it say 50 years after the death of the owner, or after the death of the author on most stuff?
Different things. So I would just say look up public domain.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So one more question, and let me do it this way. So we've got about 15 more minutes. What I'd like for you to do is we'll go around and let's tell people one time around, and then we'll do it one more time at the very end. How can they get in touch with you? If folks wanted to follow up with you, to ask questions, to have to consult with you on certain things, to hire you as a consultant in your respective fields, how do they find you? Let's start with Smackola. How do we find you?
You can find me at dirtyworms.net. Of course, you can find me on social media platforms. You can email me at dirtyworms@gmail.com. Yeah, I mean, that's, if you're serious, that's the easiest way to get at me, really.
All right. T double.
Yeah, if you want to find me, it's real simple. tdouble.com, TEEDOUBLE.com, and
it'll point you in all the other places.
Yeah, all my contact emails, everything, videos or whatever, it's all on there. And there's a page for my Urban Artists Alliance on there as well, so you can learn more about that there as well. So. Yeah,
I want to ask you a little bit about that too in a minute, but we'll get that in the next round. All right, and Doc.
Well, anything educational, Houston Tillotson University, I'm on the faculty, I'm gonna show up in the registers. And other than that, Doc the Mic, DOCTHEMIC on any social media. And they can reach out there.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, so y'all need to, we've got a great deal of resources in our community. And right here in this room with me, thank y'all so much. I'm so humbled and honored and glad that y'all are here. This has been a great conversation. So, we know that T wanted to make music from when he was 9 years old, and everything that he did has put him there. And that's the second person I've met in my life that knew when they were a very, very, very small child what they wanted to do, and they did everything that they needed to do to get there. Like my sister said when she was 6, I want to make movies. I want to make movies. I want to be a producer. I want to make movies. And so everything that she did went towards that. And now she lives in LA, and she's visual effects coordinator for all these crazy superhero movies, So,
wow.
So that's it's really cool. I always look at people like that, like the people that fold their laundry right out of the dryer. Like, I don't know how. I've changed my major. I've changed my major so many times. There's been 9,000 things that I said I was going to do with my life, like, but one thing that they all have in common is it's public speaking. So it's like, okay, I'm a talker. That's what I do. Okay. That's my job. I talk. That's what I do. So I say all that to say, Doc, when you were a little kid, what did you want to be? And is this anywhere near
a fire truck?
You wanted to be like the whole fire truck, like the actual fire truck?
Say some crazy things. I want to be a fire truck.
Well,
honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to be at first. I was so in awe of my mom. My mom was a writer, and I would go to all these little readings at different libraries and stuff. And even though I thought it was boring as hell, like there was no way, like poetry, what? I was so bored. But anytime she got up there, I'm like, she's about to wreck it. And I would hear my mom, and it was so much livelier. And I would, she would write something and she would share it with me first, and then she would, call up her friends or whatever. So that just made me want to write. And so I just wrote to myself at first. I think I started off, and I would write the next, I guess the next verse on whatever song I was listening to. I'm gonna listen to the song, okay, and here go my verse, and then I would write that.
Like the fan verse.
Yeah, and I would sit there and copy lyrics until I knew all the words. And so after I wrote all the words, then I would just keep writing.
My daughter does that.
And it just went from there. It came easy to me. So I was like, this is what I should be doing.
My baby's going to be a professor. Look. All right, what about you, Smackola?
Mine's a little strange. The first thing I wanted to be was a stunt man.
Nice.
Because I
want to jump off of stuff and set myself on fire.
I did. That's exactly where it came from. Jumping off a drawbridge. I saw the Fall Guy, and that show would come on, and I was already doing stuff like that, like jumping off roofs and doing weird shit like that. I got into BMX bike freestyling, so I was good at that. Then I got bored of that, and I started doing skateboarding, quarter pipes, half pipes, stuff like that. Then after that, I wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to be Jam Master Jay. No, I take that back. First, I wanted to be an artist, so I started drawing, and I couldn't draw. My shit looked like nigga, you don't need to do that. And so I was every sense of every element of hip hop. I was a B-boy, then I tried to draw, that didn't work. Then I wanted to be Jam Master Jay. And I scratched up my mom's records because, I used to just mess up all the records. After seeing Crush Groove, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Listen, no.
And then when I had a rap crew, and I was actually good at DJing, I was good at that. But then when the rappers got on the mic, it was like they didn't do it right. And then when we had a show, I was like, nah, man, y'all got to do it like this. So then finally I came from around the turntables and started doing it. And then the show thing was more of my thing. And my mom was a singer, and she was singing Tops and Blues and travel around the Air Force. So I would always see that as a little kid. And then by the time I was got deep into Michael Jackson, once I saw Michael Jackson, it was right before Motown, but then Motown really sealed it. The Motown 25, when he came on and did Billie Jean, I saw that performance, and then that's when I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I thought I was gonna be Michael Jackson. And now you got this.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, when I was growing up, I'm going to tell you though, when I was growing up, I wanted to be the president, and I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I wanted to be a
band director, and I wanted to be a singer, and I wanted to be an actress, and I wanted to be a talk show host, and I wanted to be a chef. And I listen, the list goes, I'm kidding out this one.
Like I did too.
But all these things, right? But no, really what I wanted to do really though is just spread good in any kind of way. Like my friend Faylita, y'all know, some of y'all know Faylita Hicks. She's amazing, published author, activist, wonderful, dear friend of mine. She said, Stace, you got to write down everything that you've ever done on a piece of paper. Write down everything you've ever done. Whew. Look, I still haven't done it.
Pieces of paper.
Look, I'm not done. I've started, but I'm not done. But she said, so I'm only halfway through this project. But she said, write down everything you've ever done and then find the thing that all of those things have in common. You know, because like all of y'all have been through and done quite a few things to get to where you are, but there is a common thread in that. Would you agree?
Yes.
Like what is your common thread? What is your common thread, Doc?
Well, it's a couple things. For one, even teaching is performing to me. I get in front of an audience, I get in front of a class.
Sparkle mode, look, let's go.
I'm about to have people listen to me. And if I can get people to listen to me, then I need to make sure people are educated to where they become better people. And not only that, but the betterment of people of color, period.
Love it. That's in everything you do. That's it. And I love that. What about you, T? What's I mean, you've been you're a music guy, but there's got to be more to it because you've dedicated your whole life to it.
Yeah, I think probably my common thread has really been education and being aware of when I'm being educated, you know, and knowing when I'm actually in a moment to learn something, and then for me to give that back, you know, like I went through all these things creating music and all these things. So I saw artists were not being treated fairly by a lot of music organizations in Austin. There's not a lot of people who educate Black musicians. That's why I started Urban Artists Alliance. I said, so now since I've learned so much and I'm the living proof of it, now I can share that and give that back. Because like I say, my mother was a teacher. I never thought that I would be a teacher. That was never my thing, but that's kind of like what I'm doing now anyway, right? I'm
that is absolutely what you're doing.
I'm educating
right now,
I'm educating on that point now. So it's like
right now.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I just kind of grew into that. I didn't really chase it. I wasn't forced into it. It just happened, and it was just an easy fit. So I think, you know, just being aware of my experiences and knowing when I'm being educated in order for me to share the education to others afterwards.
That's awesome. Very good. Very cool. All right. What about you? What's your
I don't know. I think my common theme has been to inspire.
Okay.
That's all I can really think of.
One word.
Yeah, I mean, but I think there's so many things under it. Like when I was BMX freestyling, we're on quarter pipes. A lot of my friends were scared. They were like, "Man, that's because when you're a little kid looking at a big ramp like that, it's pretty big." But I wasn't really scared. So when I did it, fell, got back up, did it, fell, got back up, then did it, and kept doing it, it inspired them to be like, "Oh, I can do that. I want to do that too." All through the music, all through everything of just inspiring people to be like, "Hey, man, just do it, just go." You know what I mean? Or watch me do it. Here I am doing it. And now hopefully this inspires you to do it. And when I see people turn around and do stuff, or I help them out doing something and they take it from there, to me, that's just to inspire them to do it. I don't know. That's
really cool. I love that. I have the coolest friends, y'all. Listen, those of you in the viewing audience, first of all, I have the coolest friends. Okay. Thank y'all so much for that. I appreciate y'all so much. I'm so glad to have y'all in the community. Once again, real quick, tell the folks how they can find you when they decide that they're going to take advantage of these resources that are in our community. We'll start at you, Smack, at the bottom. We'll just go around again.
Dirtyworms.net.
Easy enough.
Dirty Worms with a Z, not an S. Dirtyworms.net.
Dirty Worms with a Z will get you a garden, or with an S will get you a gardening group or something. Anyway, sorry, composting and whatnot. The Z is important. All right. What about you, T?
Yeah, you know, tdouble.com, you know what I mean? TEEDOUBLE.com. And you can find everything I've talked about on here, on there, Urban Artists Alliance, my music, my licensing, my sync stuff, everything about me, my bio, everything is on there. So reach out, stay connected.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Doc, how do we find you?
Dr. Mike, DOCTHEMIC on any social media, and Houston Tillotson University.edu.
Associate professor, y'all. That is one of the universities that I dropped out of. But that's for a
You can
different.
come back. We got adult degree programs too.
That's the one I quit. But I could come back. I'm on good terms, you know, my money's good and everything. I just have my life stuff. I quit, but I don't quit quitting. So I'm not a true quitter. Like I will keep quitting college until I graduate college, if that makes any sense. If that makes any sense. I will have all of my doctorates in order by the time I'm 50. So as I've witnessed right here, you know. All right, y'all. You've been tuned into The Hash with Stacie Shea. I'm Stacie Shea. Thank you so much, T-Double, Smackola, and Doc for coming on today and joining us. Now, every first Friday of the month, T-Double and Smackola are going to be coming back and talking with us music business. Next week or next month, we'll talk about some other element of it. I hope Doc will come back and sit in with us at some point too. Not necessarily, you know, it's like
at some point,
you know, because I know it's like, you got to come back and talk with us more. I want to talk to you about this opera when you get. Okay.
When I hear about.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is what I want. Okay.
So right now, but yeah.
But yeah, you've been tuned into The Hash with Stacie Shea. You can find me on The Hash with Stacie Shea. Y'all are following me Facebook right now. I also have a YouTube channel. You can get to that. The easiest way to get to that is through my Facebook page, because I don't have a custom URL just yet, because I need more people to like and follow my page so that I can get my custom URL. So perhaps y'all can help with that. And tune in next week. Stop, my dog is chewing on me again right now. I'm so sorry. Tune in next week for more of this with more wonderful friends of mine. Any final words, y'all? Any closing words?
Just, you know, stay motivated, stay inspired, stay empowered, stay educated, stay enlightened, and everything else will work itself out.
What he said.
I love that.
Exactly. Oh, you can catch me on
Like, where do we
Black
find
Tea
y'all?
Talk. I almost forgot about that.
Let's go into Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week, right?
Monday,
Instead of every
Wednesdays,
day.
and Fridays. And we'll
On
be
your-
white black.
It will be white black. That's a great show. It's a lot of fun. This dog is gonna get. It's a lot of fun talking about conspiracy, controversy, music. You can call into that one too, which is a lot of fun. So y'all tune into that. Tune into our buddy of Quentin over at Free Thinkers as well. So yeah, we got a whole group of us that are like doing the thing, y'all. Thank you again. Y'all have a great evening. I'm about to bounce us off of this live and call it a night. Y'all are wonderful. Peace be. Thank y'all for hashing it out with me.
All right.
All right.
Love y'all.
Sure. All
Peace.
right.
Peace.
I'll stay up.